What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Buy the Book Bonus Bets. This is McDonald. My name is Nejad. And Meg, we've been talking about a lot of AFC champions, a lot of NFC champions. It's time to talk over, underrated, or perhaps properly rated on what might be the team that's kind of like the elephant in the room. What team am I talking about?
The Minnesota Vikings, of course.
We just don't talk about them.
We don't.
But they're there.
They're 14-2.
It's ridiculous. So here we are. They play Detroit next week for the #1 seed, which again, Meg, this is a team who had a 6.5 win total.
Yeah.
So let's decide whether this team is for real or not, overrated, underrated, or properly rated. Meg, I want to start with you. What's your take? I mean, let's look at the odds real quick before you go, because their odds to win the Super Bowl, plus 800. It's pretty low. But again, they're 14-2, right? Might get the #1 seed. And to win the NFC, they're plus 380. How are you feeling about these numbers and this team?
This is the most underrated team in the National Football League, right? They're 14-2. The record speaks for itself. I know some of those wins aren't the most, beautiful wins, but look at the Kansas City Chiefs. Are any of those wins really spectacular and eye-popping? No, they're not. But they're still behind on the odds board, Sia, to win the Super Bowl, behind the Baltimore Ravens, who have 11 wins, behind the Buffalo Bills, who have 13 wins. This team is finding ways to win. Now, again, it's not the most beautiful thing, and I don't know if Sam Darnold is eye-popping, but this is working for him. He's only on a 1-year deal. Minnesota might have the best 1-2 punch wide receiver core, honestly. So that obviously helps. You have a defense that's lighting it up. And also, let me be so clear, this team is vibes right now. They're having fun. And when you see a team, it's like the Lions last year. No expectations coming in, and they're gelling and they're playing for each other. All of their touchdown dances, I love it. The High School Musical, the Camp Rock, throwing it back to Disney. It really shows our age, right? Because that's way after my time. But I love this. I love what the Vikings are doing. Their vibes get you to the playoffs. We'll see how far they can get, however.
Well, so that's the thing. So when we're talking about overrated, underrated, or properly rated, I think it does come down to, now that you're playing these playoff teams, how's it going to look? Well, it looked pretty good against the Packers last night, okay? We'll see how it looks against Detroit. I think they can beat Detroit, as Detroit is constructed with their defensive issues. I think the problem is when you get through consecutive games in the playoffs and you have to face teams we'll see about Washington and Tampa likely making it in, but teams like the Philadelphia Eagles and the Green Bay Packers again and the Detroit Lions, can they make it through that gauntlet? And the reason I'm suspect about it, Meg, is because you mentioned some of those wins that weren't pretty. Some of those wins weren't pretty recently against bad teams. Jacksonville, Arizona, some teams that are kind of Chicago, that they won by 3 points. Jacksonville by a handful of points. Arizona by 1. This Arizona team that was already playing bad, right? So I like this team. And I think, Meg, here's the thing. Here's why I would say, if anybody wanted to say underrated, their coaching is awesome. Brian Flores, O'Connell. I mean, this coaching matters in the NFL. So I get that part of the argument. From a talent standpoint, I think it runs out once they get to the second round of the playoffs. That's my take on it.
I don't think it does. Because I keep saying that week after week. I'm like, they're frauds. This is the time. Fade away the Minnesota Vikings. And guess what? They haven't lost in months. I am losing money betting against Minnesota. I'm hopping on.
I want to get your official play, underrated, overrated, or properly rated. Before you go, though, can we just say, good for Sam Darnold.
I love this for Sam Darnold.
1-year deal, $10 million. J.J. McCarthy, the heir apparent to the Vikings franchise. And now you really got to make a decision. I don't know how you go to J.J. McCarthy, the rookie, next year with a 14-2 team that might grab the #1 seed. Seems impossible.
14-2 team. And look, I just love what Sam Darnold is doing. Truly. This speaks to being in the right system, being under head coaches that are smart and can figure out what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and play to them. And also, it does help to have some talent around you, of course. You can kind of hide Sam Darnold in that as well. But he has earned a starting quarterback position in the National Football League. He has earned that title, and he's earned that money as well.
He has. Okay, let's get your
underrated,
official.
Period.
Underrated.
6.5 win total.
Yeah, it's
so underrated.
So I'm going to just put a different spin on it because I agree with you, underrated. But now that the odds are what they are, plus 800 to win the Super Bowl, so it's a little different spin, plus 380 to win the NFC. I don't think they're terrible odds, but because these odds are what they are, I think they're properly rated.
Okay.
I think this team is properly rated as far as the odds are concerned. But boy, what a story. There's some really good stories. Washington, Baker Mayfield, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This Minnesota Vikings team. The NFL always gives us good stories. Sam Darnold, the Vikings, O'Connell, Flores, that's another one of them.
I like that you're saying properly rated according to the numbers.
Yeah.
Only I'm saying underrated according to vibes.
Fair enough. Minnesota Vikings, we've got
Both
underrated.
can be true.
We've got properly rated. Both absolutely
Yeah.
can be true. We'll see how Minnesota does in the playoffs. That game against Detroit's going to be really awesome. Can't wait to watch it. And if you can't wait to watch by the book, good news, Monday through Friday at 5:30. You can watch McDonald and I every single day on Monumental Sports Network. We'll see you then.